Yo, what is up guys? It's me, Lee, back bringing you some more NBA news and updates. Hope you're all having a fantastic day, but you already know that we got a heck of a lot to talk about today, so let's not waste too much time. Let's get right into it. But first, I do have to give a quick shout out to the sponsor of this video, SeatGeek, aka the best ticket purchasing app on the market. As with SeatGeek, not only do you get to see a live view from your seat before you buy the tickets to make sure you're not getting some terrible seats, but you'll also be able to save an extra $20 off your first order by using the promo code SDC at checkout. It really is an awesome app and a must-have app for anyone who likes going to games, live concerts, just any sort of live event. I'll have the link so you can download it in the description box below. Now with that out the way, let's just get on to the video. Let's go. For our first story of the day, Blake Griffin, who has had a terrific season with the Detroit Pistons, arguably the best season of his career if you were to ask me, averaging just under 25 points per game, as well as 7.5 rebounds and 5.5 assists, while also becoming a much better three-point shooter as well, knocking down 36% of his outside attempts. The man has been unbelievable this season. However, despite how terrific Blake Griffin might have been for the Detroit Pistons, the Detroit Pistons themselves once again find themselves on the verge of not making the NBA playoffs. Since as it stands right now, with 2 games left in the season, the Pistons have a record of 39-41, hang on to the A seed in the Eastern Conference by the skin of their teeth, just 1 game up on both Miami Heat as well as the Charlotte Hornets, meaning that the final 2 games of the season for the Detroit Pistons are pretty much must-wins. Since if the Pistons lose even 1 game and then the Miami Heat or the Charlotte Hornets go on to win both of their final remaining games, then that means it's it for the Detroit Pistons. Lights out, it's a wrap, try again next season. And Blake Griffin doesn't want that to be the case yet again. And that is why before the Pistons play their final 2 games, Blake Griffin just sent a message out to his teammates. And that message is not to forget how it felt last season when they found themselves on the outside looking in, and that the rest of the players on the Pistons really had to play with a sense of urgency these final 2 games. I remember sitting in the film room saying to some of the guys, we can't let this happen again next year, and to remember that feeling, I still remember that. It was the first time that I hadn't been to the postseason in a long time. We just have to be ready for the next 2 games. We need to make some changes and correct some mistakes and move forward. Now, luckily for the Detroit Pistons, their final 2 games are against the Memphis Grizzlies and then the New York Knicks. And I swear to everything, if the Pistons don't make the playoffs because they wind up losing to the New York Knicks, the worst team in the league, you guys will probably never hear from me again. But once again, the good news is the Pistons only have to win 1 of their upcoming games unless the Charlotte Hornets and the Miami Heat go on to win both of their games. Actually, it's just the Charlotte Hornets, since the Pistons own the tiebreaker with the Miami Heat, and the Pistons win 1 game and the Miami Heat win 2 games, then both the Pistons and the Heat will have the same exact record. But since the Pistons had the tiebreaker in the regular season series that the 2 teams have played against each other, it would still be the Pistons who go on to the playoffs. However, the same thing can't be said with the Charlotte Hornets, as it's the Hornets who own the tiebreaker against the Detroit Pistons. So if the Pistons and the Hornets finish with the same record, then it will be the Charlotte Hornets who get to make the playoffs and the Pistons will find themselves on the outside. As for the Charlotte Hornets' remaining 2 games of the season, they play tonight at Cleveland, and then their final game will be against the Orlando Magic. And the Orlando Magic are a team who have actually just clinched a playoff spot. They're guaranteed to make the playoffs for the first time since they had Dwight Howard. So congratulations to any Orlando Magic fans out there. That being said, it's not like the Orlando Magic will be able to take it easy during their final game of the season, because if they lose that game and the Pistons win both of their remaining games, then that means that the Orlando Magic will be the 8th seed instead of the 7th seed and have to take on the Milwaukee Bucks, while the Detroit Pistons will move up to the 7th seed to face the Toronto Raptors. And no offense to the Toronto Raptors, but I know as a Pistons fan, I can speak soundly for every other Pistons fan out there when I say I'd much rather take my chances with the Pistons going up against the Raptors as opposed to the Milwaukee Bucks. Once again, it's nothing personal, but just watching how this season has progressed, it's not hard to tell that the Pistons would have a much better shot against the Toronto Raptors than they would have against the Milwaukee Bucks. The Milwaukee Bucks absolutely manhandle the Pistons almost every time they play us. For our next story of the day, and speaking of the Milwaukee Bucks, the main reason I think the Pistons would get manhandled by the Bucks is because of Giannis Antetokounmpo. This guy is probably the most dominant player in the NBA right now on both ends of the basketball court. James Harden might be the best scorer that the league has has to offer this season, averaging like 36 points per game or something ridiculous like that. When it comes to dominating on all spectrums of the basketball court, I don't think anyone in the league has been more dominant than Giannis Antetokounmpo. Anyways, Giannis Antetokounmpo, staying very true to himself, once again talked about why he would never want to play for a big market team, saying that the Hollywood lifestyle simply isn't for him because there are just so many distractions. I just want to win. All that other stuff takes away from the game. You need to spend extra energy on looking good for 5 seconds. I don't care about that. I just want to look good on the court, get a win, go back home, lay on my couch, and just watch game film. That's it. I don't like being Hollywood. I don't like all this extra drama. I'm just going to try and be me. To be as big of a star as Giannis Antetokounmpo is and still strive just to be himself, not to try and become bigger than he is by getting caught up in all the extra drama that a Hollywood lifestyle that he very well could choose to live and decide not to, is a very hard thing to do. I can imagine a lot of people like Giannis will get sucked up into the Hollywood lifestyle, lose track of themselves, and as a result maybe not become the best player that they could be. But Giannis is clearly very dedicated to his craft and dedicated to becoming the best basketball player that he can be. And the reason why he's speaking on this now is actually because he was approached to be in the same movie as LeBron James. Giannis Antetokounmpo was approached to be in Space Jam 2, but he turned down that offer because he knew that devoting his summer to Space Jam would mean taking away from time that he's able to have his private practices. So he's choosing practicing over being in a movie, boosting his name up in the Hollywood scene, maybe gaining some new fans from being in the movie alongside LeBron James. He turned all that down just to practice once again because he recognized that that would only be a distraction, keeping him away from his ultimate goal, which is to be the best basketball player he can be. Being in a movie will not help you become a better basketball player. Next up in the news, speaking of Hollywood, there has been some speculation this season as to whether or not Kyrie Irving and LeBron James could reunite in Hollywood, whether or not Kyrie Irving would consider joining LeBron James on the Los Angeles Lakers. Since after their relationship had been strained from the way Kyrie Irving left the Cleveland Cavaliers, two of them have for sure made up so far this season, even coming forward to the media about it. LeBron James once again tagging Kyrie Irving in things like his Instagram stories. The two of them have a much healthier relationship now than they had when Kyrie Irving initially left the Cleveland Cavaliers. And it's that thought process that leads some people to speculate as to whether or not Kyrie Irving would consider leaving the Boston Celtics to once again play alongside LeBron James on the Los Angeles Lakers. And these rumors were just given some more time to shine. They were once again brought back to the spotlight by none other than ESPN's own Stephen A. Smith, aka the guy who just got a massive pay raise from ESPN to make sure that he doesn't leave, because they know that if Stephen A. Smith left, that there would be no more ESPN. Anyway, Stephen A. Smith just earned some of his money by saying that he has inside sources telling him that Kyrie Irving very well could meet with the Los Angeles Lakers about possibly signing with them this summer. I am told Kyrie Irving will grant the Lakers an interview this offseason. The Lakers will have an opportunity to get Kyrie Irving to come to LA. I did not say that he's coming to LA. I did not say that. I don't know what he's going to do, but during his free agent tour, I'm told he will give the Lakers an interview. Now, Stephen A. Smith might be one of the most entertaining people when it comes to talking basketball. That's why ESPN can't let him go. He is the heart and soul of that entire network. But we do know that when it comes to things like this, he's no Adrian Wojnarowski. Stephen A. Smith isn't the most credible source of NBA rumors. So we do have to take this with a grain of salt, and I would not want any Lakers fans to get excited over what Stephen A. Smith just said. That being said, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that Kyrie Irving meets with the Los Angeles Lakers. If anything, just out of respect to LeBron James. He might meet with them, see what they had to say, see the direction that they're trying to go, but just because he meets with them doesn't mean that he's actually interested in signing with the Los Angeles Lakers. And for our final story of the day, speaking of LeBron James, this will be the first time in forever that he'll be forced to watch the playoffs from the sidelines since the Lakers didn't win enough games to make the playoffs out west. And seeing as to how poorly this season went for the Los Angeles Lakers compared to the expectations that they had for this season coming into the year, it has for sure stirred up some concern for the direction that the Los Angeles Lakers are going. Concerns about what changes they're going to be making this summer in terms of their player base. What free agents are they going to go after? What trades are they going to make? But not only that, concerns about the head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers and whether or not Luke Walton still deserves to be their head coach, seeing as to how poorly this season went. There have been mumblings all season long about whether or not the Lakers should fire Luke Walton. I'm sure a lot of people are surprised that he's lasted this long with the organization. And now that the Lakers are officially out of the playoffs, that question has become increasingly more concerning if you are Luke Walton as to whether or not I will still have a job with this Los Angeles Lakers team at the start of the 2019 NBA season. But maybe this will help Luke Walton calm his nerves a little bit, as LeBron James himself just kind of voiced his support for Luke Walton and the job that he's done with his Lakers team this season, saying that with the hand that he was dealt, Luke Walton did the best job that he possibly could. I saw something the other day where myself, Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball, and Kyle Kuzma only played 23 games together this year. 15-8. We had a defensive rating of 4th in the NBA, and we were like 7th in offense when we played together over 23 games. As good as that is, it's not enough for Luke to even know what he has on a consistent basis. You don't have a consistent roster every night during the season. Like you said, you control what you can control, and you got to play the hand you're dealt, and I think he played the hand as well as he could. It kind of does seem like Luke Walton was just set up for total and utter failure by the Los Angeles Lakers and the basketball gods this season. Having to be the coach of LeBron James in and of itself is a daunting task that's going to subject you to tremendous amounts of ridicule. It's going to draw you a lot of scrutiny, even more so when you're playing on as big of a stage like LA with the Los Angeles Lakers. That's only going to add to the pressure. And not only that, but you have to worry about coaching LeBron James and also trying to train these young players like Lonzo Ball, like Kyle Kuzma, like Josh Hart, and Brandon Ingram. And then on top of that, you gotta manage the ego of the veterans. And the Lakers had some veterans who don't have the easiest egos to manage, in Rajon Rondo and Lance Stevenson. Those players are notorious for being some of the hardest players to coach in the entire league. And then on top of all of that, he couldn't even have a healthy roster. Players are always in and out of the lineup, and the Lakers just had to make do with what they have. So Luke Walton this season had the toughest job, I think, out of any other coach in the NBA. And the fact that he didn't completely snap and lose his sanity in and of itself is a major accomplishment. Look, he might not be the best coach in the NBA. He for sure has his flaws, and there were times this season where his coaching may have caused the Lakers a win here and there. But that being said, I don't think there are many coaches in the league that would have been able to do a better job than Luke Walton did, considering the circumstances that he was in. Still though, at the end of the day, this praise from LeBron could end up being no more than just a pat on the back, and then at least you tried, as Luke Walton continues his search for another job after this season. I don't think the odds are in his favor when it comes to keeping his job with the Los Angeles Lakers. Anyways, that is going to do it for today's video, guys. Hope you did enjoy it. If you did, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, as well as smack that like button so you don't miss out on future videos. And speaking of missing out on future videos, the number of comments that I've been getting saying that my videos haven't been popping up in subscription boxes and that my notifications are going through continue to grow almost by the day. I'm not 100% sure what's going on here, but if you guys want to check up on the videos, then you might have to actually go to my channel, because YouTube has for sure been on some games. With that being said though, thank you once again for watching the video. You guys already know that you are the real MVPs, but with all of that being said, until next time, keep getting the buckets, Team SDC, and I'm out of here.